And welcome back, everyone, to the Pokemon Team Creation Series. This one comes to us from Daniel F., who asked the question, what is Solomon Grundy's Pokemon team? He was born on a Monday. And I'm not going to do the rest of it. I can't actually remember. It's Solomon Grundy, born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, fell ill on Thursday, died on Friday, buried on Saturday, I'm missing one in the rhymes, the Solomon Grundy rhyme. Oh, I'm just going to find that real quick because I almost know it all. I think I just missed the order sometimes. Solomon Grundy, come on. Solomon Grundy rhyme. Rhyme. Okay, rhyme. Let's see here. So it's Solomon Grundy. I know like the first part of it. Solomon Grundy is born on a Monday. Born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday, took ill on Thursday, grew worse on Friday. That's the part I always miss. Grew worse on Friday, died on Saturday, buried on Sunday, and that was the end of Solomon Grundy. I always miss the grew worse part. That's the part I missed. But Solomon Grundy. I know I'm kind of a broke record when I say this, but not an easy guy to make a team with. There's a couple standout traits of Solomon Grundy. Absolutely. Solomon Grundy's general origin is that he was Cyrus Gold, who was a gangster, died in the swamp, but due to the mysticism, keeps coming back. And he comes back either with a slightly variated personality or completely like blank personality, not remembering himself at all. But the thing about Solomon Grundy is when he resurrects, he's usually stronger than the last time he was defeated. But because basically he's a zombie. He's actually a functioning zombie who's missing his heart. Now, apparently, as of right now, he is legitimately dead, like straight out dead in the DC universe. They were able to break the curse of Solomon Grundy after like the Blackest Night kind of debacle. So Solomon Grundy, as it stands right now, is dead, like straight out dead in the DC universe. The question now becomes, though, what kind of Pokemon team do they make for this guy? Well, there's a couple of standout traits. One is resurrection. There's no Pokemon that really can resurrect itself straight from the dead. That's ghost types. So we're looking at least a partial team of ghost types. There's also his insane strength, brute strength, along with that. Like he's a brute. So when looking at Pokemon, you're looking at some strong physical fighters on the team. But beyond that, there's a couple other niche things we can look at. Now let's look at a couple of the ghost types we put on the team. There's half of the team is surprisingly ghost types. The other half are not. Right out of the gate, when I'm talking about a big brute Pokemon, Golurk. Golurk is a huge, big, tanky Pokemon. Doesn't have a lot of speed, doesn't have a lot of special defense, but its physical stats are intense. In fact, I'm actually going to get Golurk's profile up here right now, just to remind myself how strong a Golurk. I don't use Golurks very often when I play in a game that has them, which, if I remember correctly, I believe is Golurk in Scarlet and Violet? I think it is. One second. I'm seeing as I'm on Cerebi right now. Let me double check that little factoid. I think Golurk is in Scarlet and Violet, but I'll be honest, I'm not remembering seeing it. Though, no, now that I think on it more, I believe Golurk is in fact in Scarlet and Violet. Yes, it is. I can't remember where it is, but I think it's in the Blueberry Academy. That's why I can't remember, because it was part of the DLC. But yeah, it's like physical stats for Golurk are pretty solid, but its attack is 124. It is a powerhouse when it hits. The rest of its stats, even its low stats, aren't terrible. 55 in defense or special defense and special attack. Sorry, 55 in special attack and 55 in speed. It's not a fast Pokemon, but it's bulky. It's still got 80 in its attack and in its special defense and 80 in its regular defense as well. So it's certainly not weak by any stretch of the means when it comes to its defense, but it's a powerhouse. And this makes sense. This makes sense because Solomon Grundy resurrects constantly, so when Golurks are defeated, they just get back up, assuming they haven't been quote-unquote killed. That's an interesting question. Do you think Ghost-type Pokemon can straight up be killed? We know for a fact Pokemon can die and be killed. I mean, Pokemon eat other Pokemon in lore. They've been hunted by people, and we know for a fact they can die of old age. But I wonder if that tracks for ghost types, because technically they've already died. At least a lot of them have. So, I don't know. That's a good question. Lore-wise, what do you think is the rationale for a ghost type dying? Maybe moving on past the material world into an actual afterlife? Maybe? Who knows? But yeah, I started with Golurk. That was like the first one that came to mind. The second one, though, was initially Golden Go. But I retracted that and went down to Gimme Gold. Now, why did I go to Gimme Gold? Because one of the core things about Solomon Grundy is he's trying to look for his gold. As a former crook, he is obsessed with the concept of money and, wealth and power. But more importantly, because his name was originally Cyrus Gold, what he's actually looking for, at least in the animated series, and translates a bit into the comics as well, is his soul, is his heart, is who he once was. He's looking for who he was. Cyrus Gold. He's looking for his gold. Now, I wanted to go Golden Go, but that one didn't seem to gel. Golden Go is a very good, but I used Golden Go on my first playthrough of Scarlet Violet. I loved playing with Golden Go. Took a while to get one, but once I got it, I loved Golden Go. I loved it. Or Goldango, depending on how you pronounce his name. But I think because this is actually a Pokemon in a chest full of gold coins, this makes a lot more sense for that. Now, the last ghost Pokemon that made it onto the team was a classic that I haven't put on in a team in a while, Cofagrigus. The reason for this, the gold sarcophagus kind of lends to the gold thing, but more importantly, we know that Yamask's mask is actually a mask of the person they once were. Yamask's are confirmed to be one of those Pokemon that actually were people in a past life. Same with Phantops. So I like the idea of upgrading that to a full-on gold sarcophagus, and you can still see the mask on Cofagrigus' head. So I think that worked out great, because somewhere deep inside of Solomon Grundy is still Cyrus Gold. He's just kind of lost and buried under a lot of that. Which actually leads me to another Pokemon that is kind of a outlier here. Now, I said only 3 ghost types made it onto the team. I didn't want to make it solely ghost types. The fourth Mon to be on the team is Pangoro. Now, why Pangoro? This seems like a weird choice. It does. But Pangoros are not the brutes they make themselves out to be. They actually have a good soft spot for weaker Pokemon and protect them. Now, where am I getting at with this? Well, because of Solomon Grundy's appearance, you would be remiss to think that he's just a monster and a brute. But it turns out, especially in certain medias, and again, going to the Justice League Unlimited series, that Solomon Grundy actually does have a soft spot. He does have a caring side to him in there. It's buried. It's oftentimes, it's oftentimes hidden by rage and anger and stupidity. But it is there. It is very much there, and it can come through. Solomon Grundy is not being a pure evil. He's just kind of now a weird, chaotic force of nature. And not even like something that's like a hurricane, although theoretically he has been able to go toe-to-toe with Superman in the past. Now, that being said, I did bring up something about Solomon Grundy's personality. Now, when he resurrects, his level of intelligence has varied. He's even been able to keep his personality before. But he's never been very bright. He's usually a thug for a reason. So I needed a Pokemon that was not a bright Pokemon on the team. Slowpoke kind of fits the bill. Slowpoke is notoriously one of the dumbest Pokemon around. One of the slowest Pokemon. It's not necessarily that, because it is a psychic type still. Slowpokes aren't inherently stupid, but their brain seems to just process information so slow that they tend to be kind of stupid. Like, they just aren't able to perceive things very well. So, yeah, I tried to look up other Pokemon that are historically not the brightest bulbs in the bunch, but that's easier said than done, honestly. We don't have a good track record of canonically stupid and I'm not talking about just in the anime, because personality aside, like, there are dumber Pokemon in each species, of every species, and smarter Pokemon within every species. So you can't just say, oh, well, in this episode of the anime, this Pokemon was, well, yeah, but that was that particular Mon. We're looking at the species as a whole. And as a whole, I know there are less than intelligent Pokemon out there. But I couldn't recall all of them right off the top of my head, sadly. So yeah, Slowpoke made it onto the team. Last but not least, and this is the one that I would say, if you have a suggestion for a better Mon, I will take it. Machoke, who's currently got his head shoved up Pangaro's butt. There we go. I didn't even try to time that. I just didn't make the image go all the way. Machoke is Machoke. He's a powerful Pokemon. I think he's called the species is designated the muscle Pokemon, if I'm not mistaken. What is that species type again? Let me find that out real quick. Machoke. Oh! Well, that's interesting. Apparently in Scarlet and Violet, the Machop line was not available. I'm thinking on now, I remembered. I didn't see a Machoke or Machop or Machamp at all, but it just took me a minute to realize, oh yeah, because I was on the Scarlet and Violet Pokedex. So there we go. Machoke, Machop, Machamp. All right. What is its designation? I think it's the muscle Pokemon, right? Am I right on that? Superpower Pokemon. No, it's a superpower Pokemon. Now, this honestly works for any sort of gangster who needs like a hired muscle on the team. That makes sense to me for like the hired muscle mon that you get on your team. And this could be like a callback to when he was a gangster. Maybe it's a mon that was loyal to him and stuck with him. I don't see him having a Machamp, just like I don't see him having a Golden Go or like a Slowpoke or a Slowbro or a Slowking. I don't see either of those because I don't see him as intelligent enough to get mon like that, or B, I don't see him having that bond or the patience really for that. Maybe if he gathers enough gold, he, can make Gimme Gold into a Golden Go, but I don't see that happening because he already have the Gimme Gold with it's just Koiza thinks he already has his gold. So, yeah, that's a team. Pretty weird team. Now, that being said, how balanced is it? Well, in one sense, it's actually pretty balanced. There's only really two standout weaknesses for this team. There's a couple of weaknesses do carry over, but they don't really do much to hamper the team. Like, for example, there's two weaknesses the grass in terms of the Slowpoke and the Golurk, and two weaknesses the fairy in terms of the Machoke and the Pangoro. But that's it for those weaknesses. Those don't cross over at all. The bigger problem is the Ghost and Dark type weakness. 4 Mon out of this team are weak to Ghost types, and 4 Mon out of this team are weak to Fairy types. Fairy types would be Pangoro, not Fairy types, sorry, just Dark and Ghost. Sorry, Ghost types and Dark types. So the 3 Ghost types are weak to Ghost, and then Slowpoke is weak to Ghost, and then the 3 Ghost types are weak to Dark, as well as Slowpoke. And if you want to get even more technical here, even though Pangoro does have a strength against Ghost types, its fighting type moves are useless against Ghost types. Same with Machoke. So Ghost types are actually even worse against this team than Dark types because except for Pangoro, no one on this team has really any strength against Ghost types. Save for except for the Ghost. It's a double-edged sword with the Ghost type. Ghost type is strong against Ghost type. So the Ghost types are strong against Ghost types, but they're also weak. So if a strong enough Ghost type is thrown at them, it could cleave through the team, and then Pangoro can only use whatever Dark type moves it has to take down the Ghost type. If this team were to go up against an all-Ghost team, this team would lose. Like, it doesn't really... Because we're assuming it's like of the same, similar level or whatever. But if it's going up against an all-Ghost team, this team's going down. Because A, one of its Ghosts is not fully evolved. Machoke is probably not really hitting a Ghost type at all. It's no Feint attack. And Slowpoke is just not going to be able to last. Even if I fully evolved the team, it would still struggle against Ghost types very badly. Yeah, and then Dark types are still another problem as well. Either way, though, that's my thoughts. What do you think? This is the team for Solomon Grundy. And until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.